This time I've got a Klipsch KW100 powered subwoofer, unknown problems. Told it's not working. Let's see why. Indeed, no power. So these all came from the same person. The Grundig, he brought me some Telefunken stuff, and oh, we may have a problem right here at the fuse holder. He brought me some Telefunken stuff and his Klipsch speaker and a few other things. This may be where our fault is, right here at this fuse holder, because I heard this thing make a big roar when I touched it, so it might be that the fuse holder is bunged. It's supposed to be a 1 amp fuse. Let's see what someone stuffed in this thing. What size is this fuse? What is it? On this side. 1 amp. Okay, so this is the right fuse. It never ceases to amaze me the number of people that, you know, that put the wrong size fuse. Looks like this is, so this fuse holder is kind of bent, doesn't it? Let's straighten this up. It just looks like that the hooks on here are twisted, and that might be the problem, is that somebody buggered it up trying to replace a fuse or something on it. Okay. Normally you just kind of push and turn these a bit. Maybe possible. Okay, is that in? Yes, it doesn't have power. I guess we'll find out. I fixed it! Okay, well, I'm batting 1 for 3. I can't complain about that. Because, as I say, 2 of the units for this fella I've already condemned. And I got a few more pieces from him to look at as well. But, well, I guess 1 for 3 is not so bad. Oh, wait a minute. It's a switch. The switch has got a problem. Well, I think we're going to just have to open this up and address the switch. The fuse holder was one problem, but we also have a switch problem. Oh great, it's got Torx. Torx are one of my favorite screws for obvious reasons, and anybody who's ever used them will understand why. Like, they're an absolute positive connection. Nothing to slip, nothing to strip. And they're basically nothing more than 2 Robertson screw heads put together. In fact, many Robertson screwdrivers will fit into Torx. Okay, let's remove the back. Here's our amplifier. The switch is down inside here. So, looks like the switch might be bad, but before I go down that road, I just want to make sure it's not something else that's, you know, not a bad connection or something. And, oh. Well, somebody's been working on this before. Somebody's been working in that switch. I wonder if that switch was replaced. I'm just going to power the unit up and just see whether it is actually the switch that's at fault or whether it's something else. It might be a connection problem somewhere in the amplifier itself. Okay. Maybe we got a connection problem in here. When I tap on the board, you see what I mean? Someone's worked on this in the past. You can see, looks like there's been a fair bit of heat right here on the board on this part. Okay, I think we have a connection problem on this. Let me just get in here, get a close look, and see if I can spot any connections that have failed. But it sure sounds like we've got a cracked solder connection somewhere on this board. I'll just disconnect it from the speaker and the LED so that I can put the board in front of me and give it a good close look, see if I can spot any broken connections. This area with the regulators down here is of concern. Yeah, they look like they could need redoing. I'm just gonna say give the board a good one over and look. It seems to be in this area here. When I was tapping in this area is where I was getting most of the noise, and that's in the filtering in the preamp circuit down here, wherever we are down in here. So get the soldering iron warmed up. I'm going to go over some of these connections and just see whether that will solve the problem. At least we know if I tap the board, I get the noise. So I think we should be able to fix this one. I'll start by redoing the connections on these regulators though, because they look bad, and I'm going to beef it up a bit. Bring the solder out a bit more from the actual connection into the trace a little better. Of course, not to overlook ground screws, because that could certainly do it too if any of these ground screws are loose. In fact, the ground screw is probably more likely cause of problems than anything else. Although these regulator transistors are obviously got cracks on them. You can see it. This one here especially. Some of these big connections here require a fair bit of heat. There are large resistors in this circuit. That's why the board is all burned black around here, or not burned, but discolored. It's just the heat from these large resistors like this one here. So you got to get a lot of heat on them just to make sure you burn off any oxidation that may have formed, especially if the connection wasn't 100%. Get some arcing, which will cause oxidation. One thing I'm curious is this screw tight? Let's see if the screw is loose or tight. Not very tight. Not very tight at all. That grounds the board. That could have been the problem right there. But And of course in a subwoofer, they're always being pounded by vibrations, so the first thing a connection is going to let go is in a subwoofer. There's a few other connections down here that look kind of questionable, like this one right here. It sure looks like someone in the past has gone over this switch. Maybe they thought that was the problem before. These are the drivers, and the output transistors are over here. I'm going to plug this unit in again and just see whether I've solved the problem. See if it's still making noise. One nice thing when you get a problem like this is that when you can localize it to a mechanical shock, and you generally will know once you've got it fixed. I'm going to redo this one connection I see here. You guys might not be able to see it that well because there's a good reflection coming off the light, but there's one right here that still kind of sticks out as not being very good. And it's on one of those power resistors. Surprise, surprise. Off, auto, and on. Ha ha ha, I think I got it. Yes sir, I think I got it. Okay, so I guess I'm shooting 1 for 3 on this order. There's more stuff from this fellow, but this is the first 3 that I've looked at. This one and the one that I looked at with the endoscope camera, because it's not in the workshop, it's actually in the back garage. It's a huge, great big console. Fellow shows up with, he says he's got a couple of radios for me to look at. He didn't tell me that they were like 6-foot long consoles, which I just cannot bring into the shop. I don't have the space. I don't have the bench space for them, but I don't have the storage space for them either, because I got a lot of other things in here that are taking up space. All right, that's it. Klipsch KW100. If it's making lots of noise, crackling and snapping and crackling and popping and making all kinds of racket, check that board for connections before you get into the fuse and destroy the fuse holder. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.